Welcome to this video of aspireforgmat.com. Before attempting this question, please take the practice test at www.aspireforgmat.com and then verify your answers against this video, which will be available after you answer the question at our site. The link for the free Aspire for GMAT course is also available in the description box below. Just register on the site and enroll for the course. There are many such tests available. If you have any doubts or queries that you would like us to clarify, post in the GMAT forum and we will answer your questions. Our instructors can also solve these problems in a video which will be available at our site for your benefit. This is the first question we are going to deal with. This question says, if x and y are positive integer, is the following cube root an integer? An expression has been given inside the bracket x plus y square, and we are supposed to find whether the cube root of this question or this expression is an integer. Now there are two options or two statements given in the question. We are supposed to decide whether these options or these statements are sufficient by themselves, whether they are sufficient individually, whether they are sufficient together, whether one of them is sufficient while the other is not, or whether both of them together are not sufficient. Based on this, we would be able to identify which of these options, that is the A, B, C, D, E, is the correct answer for this question. Now, how do we deal with this question? The first bit of information that we have says that x plus y square and a cube root of that, we need to find out whether this is an integer or not. We don't know this. However, we do know x and y are integer. Now that is a good news for us. And they also happen to be positive. Now these are the only two information given to us in the question. Now the first statement tells us x is equal to y square into y minus 1. Now we were already supposed to find the value of x plus y square 1 by 3, that is cube root. Now see whether this statement, that is the first bit of information that is given to us, gives us any information about this question. Can we use this first information to evaluate this question? It turns out we can, because x used here is the x used here, right? This x is the same as the x that is used here. So now this x can be expanded to x is equal to y cube minus y square. If I substitute this expression here in this expression, it becomes y cube minus y square plus y square. Now this came from this expression of x, the value of x, and this y square is the already existing y square here. You find the cube root of that and you find that this is y cube root. This is y, because we already know y is an integer. Therefore, the result of x plus y square cube root is also an integer. So this expression is sufficient to us. So now you already had three options. Let's write down those options here: A, B, C, D, E. Now A stands for whether 1 is sufficient and 2 is not sufficient. We don't know about 2, so this is open for us right now. Whether 2 is sufficient and 1 is not sufficient. Anyway, this can be cancelled because we now know that 1 is sufficient. Whether 1 and 2 together are sufficient and both of them are not sufficient by themselves as an individual statement. Now this is also wrong because we know that 1 is sufficient. E, whether 1 and 2 together are not sufficient. This also can be eliminated because we know 1 is sufficient. So now the only option that we have to find is between A and D. So let's evaluate statement 2 to find out whether statement 2 is sufficient. This states x is equal to 2. X is equal to 2 implies that this expression x plus y square cube root becomes 2 plus y square cube root, right? This we cannot evaluate anymore because we have no idea about the value of y. The only value we have is 2. So this is insufficient. We cannot find out in any way the value of y. All we know is y is an integer and it is positive. So this is insufficient. Hence, now from these options, D also can be eliminated. Only option remaining is A. And hence, answer must be